Hello and welcome to another Out of Spec Reviews video. Welcome to a video you have been asking for a long time. It is the 70-mile-an-hour highway range test of the Hyundai IONIQ 5. And have we found the perfect specification to take on this range test? I'll walk you through the car, our testing procedures, the weather conditions, and then we'll see how far it goes.
Hey, do you want more automotive content? Maybe some car talk in your ears for a workout. Or maybe you enjoy driving cars while listening to people talk about cars. Well, check out the Out of Spec podcast. We have it on video form on YouTube, of course. But we're also on podcast platforms to listen to in case you can't have a screen in front of your face. So check it out, Out of Spec podcast, available everywhere. Now, back to whatever you were doing.
This is a 2021 Hyundai IONIQ 5 SEL all-wheel drive. Now, the reason I'm excited that it's an SEL is most of the media vehicles that Hyundai has in the US are of the limited variety, the limited trim, and those have 20-inch wheels. My friend Zach right here just bought this thing 2 days ago, and thank you so much for letting us run it through all of our tests. Zach's a cool dude, lives here in town. We've gone off-roading together. Just bought it. He said, hey, let's go run it through the whole situation. So this is the SEL all-wheel drive, which comes on 19-inch wheels and tires. Still got the Michelin EV specific tires, I believe. They're the Primacy, Primacy all season, maybe not the EV specific tire. They're not. But what we're going to do, of course, is bring it over there to the air pump, set the tires at manufacturer suggested pressures as we always do. So it's a different tire than what's on the 20-inch wheels, but great, good Michelin rubber. They're 235 all around. So square stance, 235, 65, R19. And the all-wheel drive trim has a very interesting range situation that we'll be talking about. Currently, we're DC fast charging the car, as we always do before the test. I'll walk you through how we're going to basically control battery temperature best possible, and of course the weather conditions here in just a second. So for the range test, here's what we've done with this car, and here's what we do with all of the cars. It was really cold last night. It's currently almost 60 degrees, wouldn't you say? Yeah. It's a perfect day. No wind, almost 60 degrees. But what we did is this morning, we DC fast charged the car from about 15% to almost full. And I wanted to do a cold gate test on that. And that is a charging video that will come at some point. We did that in Electrify America station. Then we drove the car around, reviewed it, compared it against the Mustang Mach-E, the ID4. We talked about Zach's ownership experience, what it was like to buy the car. And we drove it around, ripped it, hard throttles, just to get everything up to temperature. Then we came here to Wellington, where we always start our EV range tests in Colorado, and we're DC fast charging the car up to 100%. Interestingly, this is actually the third charging station we tried. The other two were only giving the car 45 kilowatts, and I couldn't quite figure out why that's the case. These are 125 kilowatts shared. That was before the Leaf arrived. Then we came over here to the last one, and boom, right up to 96 kilowatts, which is the most I've ever seen out of one of these ChargePoint CPE 250 units that are set up in this 125 kilowatt shared configuration. And I saw 92 on the Taycan, I think, something like that, 95. But I've never seen over 100 on one of these things. Why they brand them that way, I don't know, but let's not get into it. What we're doing is we're DC fast charging the car back up to 100%. This ensures that everything's nice and warm by the time we leave. We have a consistent value. We always DC charge the cars until they click off. Then comes the range testing procedures. What we're going to do is we're going to jump in the IONIQ 5. It'll be two people. We're going to put the car in eco mode, which will actually disconnect the front axle and run rear wheel drive only. Now, interestingly, the rear wheel drive version of the IONIQ 5 is rated for 303 miles with the 77 kilowatt hour battery pack, which this car has. In the US, all-wheel drive always has the big battery pack. And the all-wheel drive is rated at 258 miles. Why is there such a big discrepancy if it disconnects the front motor? Well, I would think it's because the EPA tests in key up settings, and maybe they didn't have the advantage of eco mode. However, even in key up setting under normal driving, it actually disconnects the front motor, and then as you give it more throttle, it reconnects. Only in sport mode or snow mode does it keep the front axle connected. Eventually, one day, we'll have to run a rear-wheel drive and an all-wheel drive next to each other and take a look at the efficiency difference, because something's not adding up to me why there's such a big range discrepancy. I've also heard from a lot of our viewers and friends who have taken these cars on road trips that the range isn't that great, that it's pretty inefficient, especially coming after the days of the original Hyundai IONIQ and the Kona EV. Those cars were magically efficient, so I'm curious to see how this does at a constant 70 in a loop style test. It's a perfect day for it. It's great weather conditions, no wind. We have no traffic going up to Wyoming, into Nebraska, and back down. We live in a perfect area for this. And let's continue on with the test. I really have no idea what to expect here. Again, EPA range rated at 258 or 256 miles here in the IONIQ 5 all-wheel drive. We are currently charging up. We are at 88%, still doing 40 kilowatts. Not bad at all. That's pretty good. Again, as battery electric vehicles start to fill up, they will slow down. The theoretical claimed, or I should say rated peak for this car is 235 kilowatts. Insane charging monster. That's the thing. Even if it doesn't have incredible range when compared to Mach-E or ID4, I don't know what to expect, but it's definitely going to make up for some of that time in charging on a really long road trip. Here though, we are going to charge the car up to 100% and run on a loop style test. The reason we do a loop style test starting here in Colorado, going up to Wyoming and Nebraska and back down, is to counteract wind and elevation. You can never really consider, what am I trying to say? You can never really consider a single direction road trip as being fully scientific. You have to have the same start and end point to zero out your elevation gain and loss. Now, of course, you're going to have some heat loss when you climb hills or whatever, but this is going to be a relatively flat route. I'm also really excited about the no wind, because the reason we run a loop style test is if we have a tailwind one way, we get a headwind the other. And well, we'll have to see how this does. Well, let's wait till it hits 100% and then we'll reset the trip computer and head on the way. Hey, Zach, tell me a little bit about what's going on with the software version.
Yeah, so it's supposed to have over-the-air updates, but apparently I still have to use a thumb drive to do over-the-air updates. I'm not sure why, Hyundai.
Interesting, but we are on the newest update. As of last night, you updated it, right?
That's
so
correct.
This is the software version that we're on. And I have to say, even though you've been hammering this thing today,
Yeah.
look at that projected range at 97%, 288 miles.
I don't know
Wow.
what's going on. Hopefully we get that.
I mean, we'll see. I don't know. We're going to be sitting. We haven't had the car really on the highway much today,
we've
but
been hammering it. like
perfect
hard.
weather. 52F. It's starting to cool or warm. I don't even know what it's doing outside, but it feels great.
It feels great.
And no wind. Look at that. The flag just completely still. Man, this thing is going to go pretty far. We have everything else set where the climate control will be in auto. You can see the thing about this car is you just have amazing, amazing settings. You can set your charging limits for everyday stuff. We have winter mode turned off just to prolong range a little bit. It's not that cold. Although if this goes really far, it might be getting cold tonight. We'll have to see. Not much we can do, but this will be a really good 70-mile-an-hour test of the all-wheel drive on the correct wheel and tire combination. Zach, how's it going over here?
Shockingly fast.
Yeah, really good charging curve.
Yeah.
Look at this. We're at 99%, 13.6 kilowatts. Smoking.
Yeah, it just went down to 13 at like 97.
Yeah, it was doing 24 right up.
24, 25.
Yeah, really good. I mean, this is obviously just a charging monster. It charges so well that not even that it can't even keep itself cold through a whole charging session. If you start earlier, it tapers earlier. Interestingly, this is a brand new car. So you literally bought it with 12 miles on it the other day. You put a couple hundred miles on it. We DC fast charged it for the first time this morning, and this is its second ever DC charge. So really fresh battery, going up to 100%, going down to 0 afterwards. Tires are set at manufacturer's suggested pressures, brand new tires, little bit of dirt and mud on it. That shouldn't really affect anything. Sometimes if you wanted to do a little extra range, Bjorn style, you could get the hot wax. But no, it shouldn't really affect anything. Good weather conditions. Let's just hope we can get this in before it gets too cold. I hope that doesn't affect its range too much. The all-wheel drive cars do get a heat pump though, so this is going to be really, really interesting here. And it's still going at 99, fresh battery. What's it pulling? 12 kilowatts.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see what happens. As soon as it's full, we'll head out of Wellington, Colorado, and go as far as we go. We'll turn around with 60% or so, and then we'll loop around down this way. Looks like we're fully charged.
Fully charged.
Let's unplug.
Let's hit the road.
There we go. What do you think of that charge port location?
I like it. I think it's good. This handle I'm not a fan of, but the Electrify one went right in.
Yeah, nice.
Nice good connection and click and everything.
Pretty sweet. So fully charged. Climate control's off right now, so we're not wasting any energy. We have 296 miles projected to go, 272 miles on the clock. Brand new, fresh car. We all good to go? We peed? Let's do it. So let's go climate control here. Boom. We're going to go auto on one fan at 68. Air conditioning on. We're going to turn the car on. Ready to drive. Let's see. We've reset everything. Hold OK to reset. We're at 0, 0. Everything's zeroed out. Damn, I'm so excited to see what this does. We have it in eco mode. Yes, we do. That's sport. That's eco. Let's do this thing.
Let's do it. 295 projected.
It's almost 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It'll definitely probably be dark by the time we return.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, man, this is just going to be so awesome. So the goal here is, and the reason that I like doing this fueling station, this is actually where I do my MPG loops in combustion cars too, is it's right off the highway. So not only do we have a great running area where we can kind of sit at 55, 60 miles an hour at nighttime when this car is about to run out of juice to get it all the way out, we can pretty much just jump right on the highway. Interestingly, we've already ticked down to 99%. So what that means is 100 indicated is a true 100. I'm going to go I-pedal on now just to have one pedal driving. And eco mode really delays the throttle.
Yeah, it does. And like you can, with the I-pedal on, you can like really, like even when you're accelerating, you can still kind of feel it in there.
Right. Yep. So let's jump onto I-25 North. You'll be going to Wyoming for the first time.
First time. And Nebraska, apparently.
Assuming we can get through Wyoming.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we will. I had the Polestar 2, which did 225 miles, I think, at 70 miles an hour. I had that up in Wyoming, too. Wonderful steering wheel, great seating position, great seats. You kind of sit up high in this thing.
Yeah, it has a real sporty wheel. The bottom's flat, which is interesting.
But then you also have all this space to kind of hold on to. I like the wheel. The gauge, cluster, and screens I'm not so into.
Yeah.
It has a lot of settings. That's the nice thing. Look at this lifted Sienna. It's got like a 6-inch lift on that thing. It's one of the mobility ones. They built them in town, actually. And what we're going to do is kind of gently merge up. We're going to get to 70 miles per hour. We're then going to pull out our GPS device. We're then going to confirm that 70 miles per hour GPS is 70 miles per hour indicated. If it's not, we'll adjust. And then we kind of just sit there for a few hours. And this is a range test with 2 people, which we do occasionally. And yeah, we just have an extra person. I think if we were to lose me or Zach, we're both big guys, we'd get a hair more, and you can even run the climate control in sort of one-person mode, driver only. So how do I do this? 70 miles an hour on, lane centering. And this one has HDA2, so it'll do lane changes, but it will not show you the lane in the screen like the limiteds will.
Right? If you show this one, there it is.
Yep.
Yeah, but it doesn't. See, you have when someone's in your blind spot, it still pops up, which is better. I find that better because when the camera pops on, you lose your speedometer.
It's really quiet in here.
Yeah, it is.
This is the roughest, bumpiest section of road ever.
Yeah.
It feels really good.
Yeah, it's solid.
This thing's nice.
Yeah.
All right, let's grab GPS data, and then we'll confirm and update you throughout the drive.
Cool. And we are going 70, 100%. Speed limit's actually 75.
Yeah, well, it's under the speed limit the entire way.
Yeah.
A lot of people ask, why don't you do 75 or 80? Well, we've just chosen to do 70 on all the cars, so we have this log. But what I think we'll do, maybe not today, maybe another day, is we'll run this car at 50, 60, 70, 80, 85, and then we'll take a look as to the efficiency in loops, the degradation and efficiency as we go faster, basically. Man, this is going to be a great place to chill out for the next 3, 4, 5 hours.
Who knows?
Well, we're cruising down the highway here in Wyoming, and got quite a spicy situation over here on the side. That does not look good.
Yeah, he's toasting, dude.
He's legit on fire.
I think his brakes burned up or something.
Yeah, and his brakes burnt up, and he's running. Oh no, they're running away from it. We're 53 miles into the trip. Wonderfully competent on the highway. Very good lane centering. I won't really give the efficiency numbers because it doesn't matter until we start to turn around when we're 3 miles per kilowatt hour. Been at it for almost an hour. And honestly, the bass sound system's better than I was expecting. I thought, the Bose was good. I had to have it at a high volume. This was pretty good too. I mean, it's not like you're really giving up too much, but yeah, I think the Limited might be the way to go.
Yeah.
Just because you get glass roof, heads-up display, the cool loungy seats. What else do you get? You get cameras.
Yeah, you get the cameras. There's one other thing. Oh, the self-park thing.
Yeah. Smart Pack.
Smart Pack.
Anyway, we're just cruising, having a good time in the middle of whatever this place is.
Yeah.
Wyoming.
Nowhere, Wyoming.
Nowhere, Wyoming. Quick update. We're at 75% state of charge, and we've gotten 65.7 miles. Zach, do you have a calculator?
Yeah.
Or do you have a mental calculator that's better than mine?
I'm really bad at math.
Okay, good. So what's basically 66 times 4?
264.
Well, that's what we're on track to do right now. That's better than EPA.
Yeah, that is. That's like 4 over EPA.
But I think we have a very minor tailwind heading this way. So, yeah, we're going to turn around here in about 15% state of charge. Hopefully that truck on fire doesn't close the road. We're just hammering down. Again, loving the IONIQ 5. Tons of room in this car. Great backseat room. Great driver assistance. It's awesome. And we're running next to this train. Just neck and neck. This guy's freaking ripping this train.
Yeah. He's probably going 55.
Guys, check this out. We're heading into Nebraska. We're letting trucks pass us on the right side.
There it is.
There we go, Nebraska. Cruising along now. We have just crossed the 100-mile mark. I have to say, the lane changes being auto. Take a look at this. You just put it on, little pressure on the wheel, and it's doing this all by itself. Full lane changes, incredibly smooth, really, really smart. And then we're going to go back to the right again. You gotta put a little pressure in the wheel, tell it you're paying attention, and then it moves over. This is gonna be our turnaround point. I said around 60% state of charge. We're at 61%. I'm gonna kick it off with cruise control here very shortly. And I believe this is the exact same turnaround point. There we are off. It could be the exact same turnaround point that we used in the Polestar 2. Yeah, hard to really say. They all everything looks the same out here. Anyway, we're just going to be coasting all along here. We don't want to try and charge too much and put a ton of power back in. We just want to keep all of the power flow very minimal. But for everyone saying that this has pretty bad efficiency, 3.2 miles per kilowatt hour at 70, okay, look, it's no Lucid, but that's not bad.
Yeah. We might be eating those words on the way back for all we know.
That was a full stop for anyone watching.
Yep.
This is scientific research here. Sorry, officer. We're conducting range testing on this spaceship. And yeah, now the big question is going to be, we had a little bit of tailwind getting us here. That's why we're turning around with 60% state of charge. What's it going to be like going into the wind? It's only 5 miles an hour or so. Let's see. That's a one-way. This is the way we need to go. Nice balance here as well, coming into the corners. Really, really good car. And we'll be heading into the sun as well. I have the headlights forced manually be off. Give us a little extra 10 feet of range. Maybe. Probably not even that much, honestly. And yeah, we're just cruising back up to 70 miles an hour. I love that 70 miles an hour indicated is GPS accurate. It's wonderful. Looks like we have some truck traffic that we'll be going with here. We don't want to get too close to them and have any aero advantage. Yep. Back up to 68, 69, 70. Lock it in. Boom. Lovely. We are at 50% state of charge, and we've gone 120 miles exactly, so that would even out to 240. But wind is changing, elevation's changing. We actually have to go up a little bit and then back down, so we'll see how this thing does, but we're halfway through. And I have to say, feels like we just started. The seats are great. The ride noise is really quiet. The ride quality is very soft. They engineered this car wonderfully. If you take a look here, you'll see a police officer on the side of the road indicating that we need to slow down. So we'll just go hazards on. And he's telling us to move over, and we're going to take the exit up here, I guess. So we can do that. And he seems grumpy. So I think what our plan is, we just have to go slow for a little bit here. That truck fire is causing an issue, and it looks like for about a mile here we have to go slow, and then we can get right back up to speed on the side road and merge back on the highway. So always hate when this happens during a range test, but what can you do? This isn't that big of a deal. If it was like this for 30 miles, I'd say test over, but that's not the case. So looks like we're pulling off and taking side roads. We'll get right back to 70. Even though we're not doing 70 miles an hour right now, we're down to 45 or so. We were doing about 65. It's only for a couple miles. It's a good thing we didn't get stuck in that all day. You can see the smoke pouring off the truck that we saw right as soon as it started. You guys will not believe how many, and we can get right on the highway right back over there. Perfect little situation here. You guys would not believe how many times highways have closed when I'm doing range tests. It's just, if I'm doing a range test, someone's going to have an accident and shut down the highway or something. Wow, that thing is burned to a crisp.
Oh, man.
That is just gone. And you just have cars scattered everywhere around here. Just stopped on the highway.
I guess those guys had good reason to run away from it.
Wow, this is gnarly. Dang. Yeah, so I wonder if the truck burned down or he got it disconnected in time.
Oh, maybe he got the... Yeah, I think he did disconnect the trailer. Look, he has his legs down on the front.
Yep, I think he may have been...
And then there's the truck right up there.
Yeah, damn, that's brave. I wonder what burned. Looked like the reefer unit actually went. And there's the truck.
He saved his truck. That's all that matters.
Wow, that's wild. All right, now we're getting back up to speed. Look at this. We got room in front of us. Too much rubbernecking. And getting back up to 60 plus, and we'll merge right onto the highway right up here. Beautiful sunset here as we head through Wyoming. Absolutely gorgeous. Temperatures dropping. We're down to 41 degrees, back up to 70 miles an hour. That detour was really a non-issue, just a couple miles, super easy. And I have to say, it's doing well, but our efficiency is definitely dropping now with a little bit of headwind as expected. That's why we run a loop style test. And we, of course, are losing some temperature. So let's see how this thing does as we continue. We just passed where we started. We're doing a loop now on the other side. We're at 10% state of charge, range of 23 miles, which would indicate 230 miles on a full charge. And we're kind of right on track for that. So we're going to hit okay. We're going to continue down. We are going to head towards just back to Fort Collins. We'll probably skip another exit, come back and try and squeeze every lap drop that we can at 70 miles an hour. And then if you look to our right here, you'll see some cars coming our way and even these taillights on the right-hand side. What we're going to do is just drive up and down this little frontage road to the highway at 70 miles an hour as normal, 65 to 70, until the thing doesn't want to move anymore. And but we have a little triple battery logo right here, no turtle mode, and no indication of loss of power on the power meter. So everything's looking a-okay as far as I'm concerned. We'll just keep running at 70 miles an hour, and pretty not terrible efficiency, 3.1 miles per kilowatt hour. Is not shockingly good, but compared to what everyone was saying that they couldn't get more than 160, 170 miles out of a charge on this, we've done 207 at 70 and still going. And it's cold. It's 41 degrees right now. Guys, we are just about to make our final loop. Again, up to this point, we've only made one loop. We went past where we started. Now we're going to turn around and come back up in about 0.8 miles. 10.7 miles to go, 16 miles remaining. We've currently gone 213 miles. I'm curious to see what this thing comes in at. I really love the automatic lane changes. Sometimes I'm too fast and take it off, but like really awesome all-around car. We're just about to exit right up here, and so we're going to take it off of cruise control now. There we go. Taking the exit. We're going to loop around to the left, and off we go. Should be good. It says emergency braking. I probably thought we were going to crash. I don't know why. We were just getting off the exit, Hyundai. And wow, what a really good run at this thing. Almost perfect conditions, set at 70 the entire way. We just had that one little couple mile detour, which honestly gave the car a slight advantage, but I think with the temperature being low, it all kind of works out. Again, we've kept the temperature between 68 and 70 degrees this trip, but mostly at 68, I would say. So let's wait for the lights. We'll loop back around, get on the highway, and I'll give you a final number before we run it all the way out to 0 on some back roads. Take a look at this, 70 miles an hour we're at right now. It just said power limited. So I guess at 5%, it's basically like, hey, you may not get max power. But overall, I'll have to say, we're still cruising. That says 6%. This says 5%.
Just dropped.
Oh, now it says 5%. 2 different sensor readings, I guess. Still driving though. Guys, we are at 2% state of charge. Car still showing no signs of losing any power. No indicated turtle mode. Power meters looking good. I don't know if that shows a limitation, but we're just coming up to our exit here in Wellington at about 0.4 miles away. I'll let you know the exact number when we come off of 70 miles an hour, so that you can get your 70 mile per hour range, and then of course the total range of the vehicle, which we'll share. So here we go, 224 miles at 70 miles an hour, pulling it off. We are now going to go run the car at pretty close to 70 miles an hour up and down the highway frontage road until it doesn't want to move anymore. Then we'll plug it in and give you the final range. But just sitting constantly at 70 instead of doing probably 55 to 65 on this side road, 224 on the nose, which isn't bad considering what everyone was saying this car would do in colder weather. And again, 39 degrees now. The highest we saw was when we left, it was 51, but I would say average for our trip was in the mid 40s overall. So really not terrible. So those are the chargers where we will be ending. We're just coming into this little stoplight here. iPedal's doing pretty good regen. Again, the most efficient way to drive is to coast and then of course accelerate back up. But if you need to stop, you may as well regen. 3.1 miles per kilowatt hour, full loop, 3 hours, 25 minutes. Pretty efficient considering temperatures, and again, considering what everyone was saying. Now, if I had just gotten in this car after seeing the 258 mile EPA range and knowing that the rear wheel drive does 300 in the EPA cycle and getting 224 miles, well, that seems to be a little bit disappointing, especially considering we are on the smaller wheels, not the big ones. And so it's hard to say why this car isn't going as far as possible. My guess is it's really efficient in the city, because you were showing almost 300 miles on a charger and ripping it around, and very inefficient at speed, and that's just probably because of the shape. We also were having that tailwind back to the headwind really was a big difference, and that was only like a 5 mile an hour wind. So that's why we do a loop, and that's why we try and get it as accurate as possible and as repeatable as possible. So now we're just going to inch this thing up to speed. We're at 1% state of charge, 2 miles projected.
That dropped quick.
Yep. And we'll just probably go down here, turn around, and then come back up and plug it in at 0. All right, we're showing 1 mile and 1%. The thing says insufficient range to make it there. We're just gonna make a U-turn here. We were doing about 60, 65 miles an hour. Sorry to everyone around us.
So sorry.
Hold on tight, we're making U-turns. It's so trippy having all these cars coming towards us, isn't it?
Yeah.
And insufficient charge, don't tell us what to do. We're good, we're gonna keep going as long as everything's zeroed out. Oh, 0%, power limited, there's turtle mode. So now we're gonna coast this thing into the charger. It's gonna be dead.
Dead.
What's interesting though is we just got turtle mode at 0. I believe the Kona Electric would give us turtle mode at 6%, 5%, 3%, something like that. Anyway, so power limited. How do I hit OK? I'm gonna hit this.
There you go.
Yeah, but the power meter is still showing pretty full. Power limited again.
Oh yeah.
It doesn't really do much fanfare to tell you you're dying. It
Yeah.
just keeps popping up power limited.
Hey, by the way.
We might have to push this thing a couple inches.
Yeah, who knows?
We'll see. It seems to be running fine though. Climate's still on. 1 mile to go. It would come in at 227.7 if we can make it there. It's a nail biter. We got it up to 50 miles an hour cruising. What do you think?
I think we'll make it, no problem.
Think we'll make it.
Yeah. I think they buffered us a bit.
Yeah, I totally agree. I'm just keep closing out the warning. If you take a look head on, you can see we have pretty good clear road. We're almost to the parking lot. We have some inertia moving us down here at 45 miles an hour.
Yeah, that warning is annoying.
That
just
warning,
keeps
you just have
going.
to keep hitting
Yeah.
okay. I wonder if I just leave it up if it'll ding at me more.
Yeah, I bet that's it.
Yeah, I think it's just staying up now. So there we go, 0%, 0 miles. Turtle mode on. That did not too terribly. I think it's very similar to what ID4 would have done in that same test.
Yeah, they probably just benchmarked it against that. Like, hey, this is where we're going to land.
yeah, I mean, it really feels like a very similar range and efficiency level to what I would expect, just from my experience spending so much time in ID4. We at least made it back to the parking lot. Oh yeah, it's pretty limited on the acceleration.
Limited on the juice now.
Yeah, and except in the trim level. So let's back it into this final stop, and we'll log the distance here in just a second. Here we go. Press brake to change gear. There we go. There was one range test. I think it was the Mini Cooper SE. We couldn't actually back it into the charger. We had to push it in. And boom. Park. 227.4. 0%. 0 miles. Power limited.
Cool.
Nice.
Nice trip.
And we just plugged her in here. What are we looking at? Over 50 kilowatts already? Nice. From 0%. 68 kilowatts right there. Seems to still be increasing, but that's not bad actually. And then as pack voltage comes up, we should get some more juice, because this pumped out 96 kilowatts peak, I believe. That 125 I think might be at 1,000 volts, so I don't know why they rate the chargers like that. Anyway, pretty good range here, I have to say. It's acceptable, right in line with ID4 in these cold temperatures. Really nothing exciting to write home about. I would say Hyundai has possibly lost their touch in terms of efficiency. Wow, I didn't actually realize this. I love how this entire thing lights up. I had no idea. Did you know that?
No.
That's amazing. And then you also have your little charger indication right here. This will increase as the battery increases. That is a cool looking lighting effect. Neat. But yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, I'll give up a little bit of range for the crazy charging over competitors. I think Mach-E would have been more efficient in my opinion. And it did very similar range to Polestar 2. Just seems like Hyundai may have lost their touch in efficiency, I would say. The original IONIQ, the Kona, magically efficient vehicles, both of them, except this one. Again, it's larger, but it's not that large. So perhaps we'll see this improve through software updates. If it does, we will cover it. I also want to range test a rear wheel drive, because I just can't imagine how it would do more than 10 or 15 miles more than this car, but maybe there's some magic in there. Hyundai did say that, you know, just in private conversations, that the inverters in this car were tuned more for performance instead of efficiency. So I don't know, but thanks so much for watching another 70 mile per hour highway range test. There you have it. We're going to charge up and call it a day. Fun day of playing around with this IONIQ 5. Guys, check this out. I shouldn't have been giving this station crap. 111 kilowatts. I did not expect that from the CPE 250s. That's the most I've ever seen. So perhaps the car was a little bit chilly then, and I was actually wrong. You can see it's got a little cold snowflake. We did turn winter mode off, so it wasn't trying to actively warm up the battery pack. It also means that if the battery pack was really cold and it could have cooled down during the drive, available usable energy could have been less. But that's why this is a cold weather range test. And of course, in the summertime, we're going to do a hot weather range test. But 111 kilowatts right there. Not bad on these CPE 250. And perhaps that available usable capacity of the battery pack dropped due to cold temperature. These are all factors that are part of real world testing. Can't wait to get this on a warm summer night when it's, you know, 75, 80 degrees out at night, and see what this thing will do.